last class we have seen about DC machines. So morning, in the first class we see about the construction details, so generators. So today's class also we are seeing about motors only. So what are the starting methods of DC motor? Why we require a starter? For DC motor we need a starter. Why? Because so voltage equation of a DC motor, we know that. So we are applying a voltage V. So some power is generated into mechanical power. Some power is wasted in the armature. Okay. So V is equal to EB. EB is the back EMF which is equal to the mechanical power developed. So IaRa is the power wasted in the armature. So some power is wasted in the armature. So V equal to EB plus IaRa. This is the equation for a DC motor. When you are asked to write the voltage equation of a DC motor, you have to write V equal to EB plus IaRa. So the above equation I am rearranging such that I have to find the current of Ia. So V minus EB divided by RA. So during the starting, the motor is not rotating. So there is no back EMF. EB is equal to 0. So Ia is equal to V by RA. So Ia equal to V by RA. So RA value is very much smaller. So RA value is very much smaller. So we have seen in the last problems, it is about 0.5, 0.4 ohms, etc. So since RA is very small, the above equation, so I equal to V by RA. So V is 230 volts. We give DC voltage. 230 by 0.2 means how much current? So it will go in the 230 by 0.2. So it will go in the range of 800, 900 amps. So it will damage the winding. This high current will damage the winding. So we have to avoid this. So for this purpose, so we are adding some resistance in the armature initially. So there is a armature resistance of 0.2 ohm. We are adding externally some 200 ohms at the beginning. So 230 by 200 ohms. The current will be very less. Okay. So this is the principle used in DC motors. Okay. So since RA is smaller, so it will draw a larger armature current. So it will damage the motor. So what are the problem occurs in the motor means it will cause sparking at the commutator. So it will damage the armature winding. So it will damage the insulation due to the overheating. So the supply voltage may dip. Dip means it will go from 230 to 50 volt also. That is known as dip. So what are the starters we have seen in the last class? 3-point starters, 4-point starters and 5-point starters. So this is actual component of a starter. So if we come to a DC lab, machine lab, we see this starter. So you have to move the handle. Okay, so that the resistance will be cut off. So this is the construction details inside the DC starter. Here there is an electromagnet. Okay, here also there is an electromagnet. So there is a handle here. There is a handle here. Here the resistance are connected to this studs. So when you move the handle, the resistance is gradually cut off. If you place a handle in this position, full resistance will be there. If you move one position up, some part of the resistance will move out of the circuit. If we go to this end, all the resistance will be cut off. So this electromagnet will hold the handle thereafter. Okay. So this is the inner view of the DC starter. This is the outer view of the starter. So first one is 3-point starter. So what are the various parts of a starter? As I have told, it is a stud. So behind the stud you have resistance. This is a handle. This is used to move the this iron piece. Okay. It is made up of soft iron. So this is electromagnet, we are calling as Coulton coil. So this is overcurrent. If overcurrent came, this will make the starter to off. So this overcurrent release coil. So it will sense the overcurrent and it will make the holding handle to off. So this is spring tension is given for moving this soft iron piece to the here. Because when the supply is cut off, the spring will automatically make it to off position. Here it is on off position, here it is on position. So we are slowly moving and we are placing the handle here. When the supply is cut off, the spring will, this electromagnet fails. The spring will make the handle to move to the off position. That is the use of the spring. So this is the construction of a 3-point starter. Okay, this 3-point starter is used for shunt motor, compound motor. It cannot be used for series motor. In series motor, we are not using starters. Why means because there are some field resistance in the series motor. So it is added with the armature. So we can also use 2-point starters, but in this syllabus it is not given. So 2-point starters is only used for DC series motor. 3-point starter as well as 4-point starter used for shunt and compound motor. Okay. So in this we see the 3-point starter. It is the mostly used starter in all DC motors. So here the figure is formed. There are 3 terminals A, B and C. Okay. There are 3 terminals A, B and C. We are calling as the C point. Okay. So in the B point and the minus you are connecting the field coil. C point and the minus you are connecting the armature. The supply is given to the A point. Okay. This A point is connected to this overcurrent coil, then to the spring tension. Okay. This is overcurrent coil. So it is connected to this handle. Okay. So this is the handle. So initially we are keeping the handle at the position 1. When the position is at 1, so here it is the supply, it is going to 1. Okay. So all the resistance will be there. 10 is the last point. Okay. So all the resistance will be there. So when you move the handle from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, the resistance is gradually cut off. Resistance will gradually cut off. So when you place the handle at the 10th position, all the resistance will be cut off. So when you place the handle at the 10th position, all the resistance will be cut off. Okay. So one line is directly connected to the armature, one it is connected to the field terminal. So both are tied together by minus. So other line is connected to the point A, which is connected to the starting arm L through M. This is the starting arm L, soft iron piece through M, through this coil. This is overcurrent release coil. So in order to start the motor, we have to first put the main switch and you have to slowly move the handle to the first position. So as soon as the arm make the first position, so here you make the handle to the first position. Okay. The field circuit is directly connected across the line. At the same time, full starting resistance will be in series with the armature. So when you place the handle in the first position, field coil gets a full voltage. At the same time, the full resistance is added in the armature because the armature connection is connected here. So here you making the connection. So this resistance, out of this the armature will have. So the armature will have this resistance plus RA. So the armature will have full resistance plus RA. Field is connected to this point. So here by negative. So due to this will be up. So this connection is made. Okay. So here 230 volt will come. So when this magnet is energized, This will move up. So this E will get the voltage. So field coil also energized, armature having full resistance. So now the starting current is I equal to V by RA plus RS. RS means this resistance, total resistance. So I equal to VA plus RA plus RS. RS is the starting resistance. So if you, after that starting, you are slowly moving the handle from position 1 to position 2, position 3, position 4 and so on. So as the arm is further moved, the starting resistance is gradually cut out till the armature reaches the running position. So the 10th point is the running position. I make the handle to the 10th position. Now the RA is, all the resistance are cut off. So only RA will be present. So when RA only present, we are calling as a running position. So there is a soft iron PCS. This is called soft iron PCS. So attached to the arm, which in full on running condition, it is attracted by electromagnet E. So this electromagnet will attract this iron piece and it will hold the handle. So we not necessary to keep the handle by hand. So when it moves, when we make the handle to move to the position 10, this electromagnet will hold the iron piece. So it is in running position. Okay. So it is known as hold on coil or low voltage relay. So what is low voltage release means? When a voltage is below the required voltage, this electromagnet voltage is not sufficient to hold the electromagnet. See, a soft iron piece. This electromagnet will deactivate. So this soft iron piece will be removed. Soft iron piece will not be attracted by this electromagnet. So there is a spring available here. So this will move the handle to its off position. So 10th position is on position, before 1 is off position. So this is the hold on coil or low voltage release. So when the low voltage comes, this won't be electromagnet. This will not attract this soft iron piece. So this spring will make the handle to the off position. Okay. Now we discuss the two protective devices. One is overcurrent, another one is low voltage. So low voltage we see the hold on coil. Normal action of this coil is to hold the arm in full running position. When the voltage is at the rated voltage, it will hold the handle. But in case of failure, so if the supply is cut off, so this will de-energize. So this is not an electromagnet, thereby releasing the arm. So the arm will come to the off position. So it is one of the protective device. So this advantage is the hold on coil is connected to the field coil. So field also get disconnected. So the spring connected to the arm will make it to the off position. So another protective device is overcurrent relay. So we have already told it is M. So this consists of an electromagnet connected in supply line. So if the motor becomes overloaded, so if you keep the load very much, so the rated current of the motor is say 20 amps, we keep the load for 30 amps, so it is overloaded. So if it is overloaded beyond a predetermined value, what will happen means, so this piece, arm D, is lifted and it will short circuit both these two lines. It will short circuit this point as well as this point. Okay, this will short circuit both. Whether it is the PVD is visible? Hello? PVD is clearly visible?
Yes, sir.
PVD
Yes, sir.
is okay.
Sir, PPT is correct, visible, sir.
Okay, thank you. So when the overcurrent occurs, this will produce more flux. So this will attract this iron piece. So when the iron piece will move up, this will short circuit both these 2 points. When the 2 points are short circuited, this hold on coil will be short circuited. When it is short circuited, no voltage will come, so this will de-energize automatically. This handle will go to the off position. So this is the working principle in the starters. In all starters, the same working principle, same overcurrent relay, and same hold-on coil. So only thing is the connection will be different. Okay. So this is about 3-point starter. Next we go to the 4-point starter. So in the 4-point starter we have 4 points. So we are calling as LLSA. The working is same only. It is the same as that of the 3-point starter. So when compared to 3-point starter, so only one change is there. The hold-on coil is taken out of sun field and it is taken directly across the line as shown in figure. So in the last case, the hold-on coil is connected to the field, but in here it is connected in there with a different line. Okay. So here, if you see, this is armature. Here you have seen 2 fields. One is series field and one is sun field. So the 4-point starter is only used for compound motor. So you cannot use this 4-point starter for shunt or series motor. This is only used for compound motor. Here also same principle, moving the handle, hold-on coil as well as the overcurrent relay. So when the armature touches the stud 1, so when you stud touches the stud 1, the line current divides into 3 parts. One part goes to this series resistance RF. So second part goes to the sun field and its field resistance. Third part goes to the hold-on coil and current protective resistance R. Okay. So if you, in this method, if you change the sun field circuit, so it will not affect the hold-on coil. The last problem, last starter, 3-point starter, for example, I am doing a speed control. So I am here doing some speed control method. So here the current will change. If the current changes, here the electromagnet current also changes. So it will affect the hold-on coil. But in this case, the hold-on coil is separated, so and it is connected to a separate resistance R. So we are calling it as a protective device. Okay. So it is connected separately. So if you change this sun field or series field, there is no effect in the hold-on coil. So that is a great advantage in 4-point starter. So it is mainly used in compound motor. Okay. So when you close this switch one current flows like this, other current flows through this, other current flows through this. So the current is divided into 3 parts. So one current through the resistance, second current through this protective device, third current through this field and sun field and series field resistance. Okay. This is about the starters in DC motor. So if you go for, if you say I am no DC motors, they will ask why starting is required, why starters are required. So if the starters is not used, starting current is very high and it will damage the winding, insulation, sparking will be there. So a lot of problems will occur. So this purpose we are using starters. Starters will provide additional resistance in the armature so that starting current is reduced. Okay. There are three types of motors. For series motor it is 2 point, shunt motor it is 3 point, compound motor it is 4 point. So series motor we are not seeing the 2-point starter. The operation is same only in 2-point starter also. The moving the stud, hold-on coil and overcurrent relay, everything is same. The only thing is the connection. Okay. Next one, in 3-point starter, what are the components available here? What is hold-on coil, overcurrent relay, handle, soft iron piece, studs, the resistance are connected here. So you have to explain this construction. Then you have to draw this diagram. Then you have to explain the working. So I am moving the handle to position 1. All the resistance will be added to the armature. So the starting current is reduced. So when I am moving the handle to every position, the resistance is gradually cut off. So when it reaches the position 10, this electromagnet will hold the handle. So this is the operation of the 3-point starter. So there are two protective devices, one is overcurrent and one is low voltage. When the low voltage is occurs, this will not be an electromagnet, so it will not hold the soft end. The spring will make the handle to off position. So when overcurrent, this become energized and it will lift the arm, so it will short circuit the hold on coil. So this electromagnet will demagnetize. Once again the handle will go to the off position. So there are two protective devices. So in 4-point starter, the connection is different. The advantages is the sun, if you change the values in the sun field or series field, it will not affect the hold on coil. That is a great advantage in 4-point starter. Here, so when you move the handle to first position, the current is divided into 3 parts. One current flowing through this, another current through this, another current through this. Okay. They may ask, explain the working of 3-point starter or explain the working of 4-point starter. So 4-point starter also you have to explain the working. I'm moving the handle, so you have to explain the hold on coil, you have to explain the overcurrent relay. Everything you have to explain. So this is one of the important question, the theory question in this unit. Gautam sir, you can ask questions. Aswat came online.
Number 101. Sir, I will mark it as absent, sir.
Okay. 106. Ivan Joseph. Okay. Why these starters are required for starting the motors?
The starters provide the initial voltage and resist the high voltage coming to the motor, sir, and it provides a safety aspect also.
So it provides safety, but it is not providing voltage. The voltage is constant. So what it does?
It provides current.
The current, how much current? So if we are not using starters, what is the problem?
Sir, it will not get enough current to get started.
Wrong. Your answer is entirely opposite. So it will carry large current. So it will carry large current since the resistance is very small. V by R, Ohm's law. R is very small. So current will be very large. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So you are going in the opposite direction. Mohammad Ijaz. Mohammad Ijaz. 19A111.
Sir, now only came, sir.
Now only came out, okay. 19A109. Kirtivasan. 19A109. Kirtivasan, where he gone? Kirtivasan? So he gone. After asking questions, he gone. Okay. Vishwajit? So whether I can use the 3-point starter to compound motor? Is it possible?
Yes, sir.
How? So I have 3 points. There is only one field coil, LFA. Okay. How you connect to compound motor? Compound motor has too many connections. Is it possible? No. 3-point starter is used. 3-point starter is used only for shunt motors.
Okay.
So while studying, you have to analyze whether it is possible to connect for other motor So in the CA question, I will ask analyze questions only. So you have to think and write. So I will not be direct. You have to analyze and write the answer. Okay, thank you. So we move to the next topic. So before going to the next PPT, I will put a video how the DC motor works. So this is a construction of a DC motor. So if you look at this, this is a brushes, this is commutator, this is armature coil. Wait a minute, I will stop and tell. So this is a cross-sectional view. This is the shaft. These are commutators. This is a brushes. This is armature coil. This one is stator. This one is stator. So here there is no speaker, so the voice is not hearing for you. So this is the working of a DC motor. So this north and south pole is providing the magnetic field. This is the commutator. These are the brushes. For this north and south pole, here they are using permanent magnet, but in motors they are using only electromagnet. Okay. So in the armature also we are giving another magnetic field. This both magnetic field will interact. So here there is one magnetic field, yellow color line. There is another magnetic line, blue line. This blue line is moving. It is continuously rotating. Okay. This blue line is continuously rotating. So the direction it is rotating. If you see this, it is continuously rotating. But this yellow line is fixed. Stator magnetic field is fixed. But this armature magnetic field is continuously rotating. So this will cut the flux. So at every instant, the voltage generated at this point will be different. So it is not constant. Okay. So it is not a single coil, it is a multiple coil. So this is the actual armature. So it is not single coil, it is a large number of coils. So this is commutators, this is brushes, these two are brushes, this is shaft. Why shaft is required means it to give mechanical construction for mechanical safety and purpose. These are field coils. The field coils are connected in such a way that so it produces a magnetic field in between them. So this is armature coil. So this is a graph between speed and torque. So if we increase the speed, torque will decrease. The speed and torque are inversely proportional in series motor, but in shunt motor it is different. So in shunt motor, so if we increase the torque, the speed is almost constant only. So shunt motor is known as constant speed motor. So in series motor, if we increase the torque, speed will decrease. So we have already found that back EMF is equal to EB, it is equal to V minus IR. So this whenever this armature coil cuts this magnetic field, an EMF is produced. So in this motor, this magnetic field is provided by external supply, DC supply. So this EMF, this armature EMF is also supplied by external voltage. Okay. So this is known as EMF in. So we are giving a DC voltage. So this DC voltage will produce a flux. There is already a flux there. See, these two flux interact and another EMF is induced. That is known as back EMF. That is converted into mechanical power. So this is the equation for the armature current, EMF in minus EMF back by R. So initially it is 0. So EMF in by R. EMF in is what is the voltage we are giving. So in every motor you have a cooling fan. So the armature gets heated. To avoid this overheating, a cooling fan is provided. So these are mechanical arrangements for protection of these components from moisture, dust, and for safety also. So here there is no speaker, so I couldn't play the sound. So next topic is we go to the speed control of DC motors. So we are seeing, yeah. So in the last class we have seen that there are two types of speed control. So one it is armature control, another one is field control. So armature control means we are controlling the current flowing in the armature. Field control means we are controlling the current or voltage in the field. So you can either control the armature current, otherwise you can control the field voltage. Okay. So what is the advantage of controlling this speed? The principal advantage of DC motor. So you can change the speed by different methods. There are wide range of methods. They are simple only. Okay. So you cannot obtain a speed control, fine speed control in AC motor. So speed control is very smooth in DC motor. So AC motor speed control is very difficult. So fine speed control can be obtained in DC motor. So it is used in textiles and rolling mills. Okay. So how we can control the DC motor? What is the equation for that? Okay. So we from the EMF equation, so we get Eg equal to pi Zn by 60 into P by A. We have already derived that. So instead of Eg, we have put Eb. Okay. Eb equal to pi Zn by 60 into P by A. P by A constant, pi is variable, Z remaining things are constant. So I am taking the variable value only. So Eg equal to pi n. You can write Eg equal to pi n. Okay. So pi n equal to Eb. Okay. So I am moving the pi other side. So n equal to Eb by pi. So since I am removing all the constants, I put this proportionality symbol. N is proportional to Eb. N is inversely proportional to pi. So this means when the back EMF increases, the speed increases. When the flux increases, speed decreases. So N is proportional to Eb. So N is inversely proportional to pi. So how we derive this? We have already derived Eg equal to pi Zn by 60 into P by A. So instead of Eg, I am putting Eb. So I am removing all the constants. So Eb is proportional to pi n. So I am moving the pi other side. So n is proportional to Eb by pi. That is the equation given here. Okay. So we know that in DC motor Eb equal to V minus Ia Ra. So I am putting Eb equal to V minus Ia Ra. So in making this proportionality into constant, I am putting a constant k. Okay. So now n equal to k V minus Ia Ra by pi. So here we are mentioning R. So it is RA for shunt motor. Series motor, you have to add the series field resistance also. So RA shunt motor, RA plus RSC for series motor. So how we can control this? One controlling method, you can vary the flux per pole. That is known as flux control method. So if you change the flux, speed will increase. So if you decrease the flux, speed will increase. If you increase the flux, speed decrease. This is known as flux control method. So we are varying the flux per pole. So second one, I am varying the armature resistance. So I am varying the resistance in the armature circuit is known as armature control method. So I am varying the R so that I am controlling the speed. So another method is I can change the input voltage. So that is known as voltage control method. So broadly classified, we are saying flux control and armature control. So another method of controlling is we can control the input voltage. That is known as voltage control method. So we see one by one flux control method. So in the flux control method, we take a simple shunt motor. So shunt field and armature are in parallel. So I am applying an input voltage. So IA and ISA are the corresponding current. So IL is the total current, load current. Okay. So in the field rheostat is connected in the shunt field because we are varying the shunt field. So flux depends upon the shunt field. Okay. So I am varying the shunt field by connecting a rheostat in series with the shunt field. Okay. So based on the fact that varying the flux, the motor speed is changed. So we are calling a flux control method. So in this method, a variable resistance is called rheostat. So it is connected in series with the shunt field circuit. So by this, if you increase the field rheostat, so I am increasing the field rheostat value, resistance value is increased, the current flowing through the field is reduced. Automatically, the voltage also reduced. So since voltage is reduced, flux is also reduced. Okay. Since flux is reduced, phi is reduced, speed will increase. Okay. I am telling once again. I am increasing the resistance of the rheostat. For resistance increases. Due to the resistance increases, current flowing through the shunt field decreases. Since current flowing through the shunt field decreases, voltage also decreases. The flux phi also decreases. So the speed increases. So another point, when you decrease the field rheostat. So when you decrease the field rheostat, the current flowing through this will increase. The flux also increase. The speed will decrease. So you can increase the speed, you can decrease the speed. So you can make the speed to a minimum value. You can make the speed above the rated value. If the speed is 1500, by this method you can increase the speed up to 1800 also. So that is the advantage in flux control method. Okay. So advantages, flux control, it is easy, it is a convenient method, so it is a very low cost method, little power is wasted in this method. So this method can be done independent of the load. You can change any load, so no problem. You can disadvantages, you can get the highest speed. So there is a limitation also. You can go up to a particular speed. Okay. There is a limit to the maximum speed obtained by this method. So if you go increase the speed, it will affect the commutation and also some sparking problem also. So you have to limit the speed up to 1500 means you have to limit up to 1600, 650. You cannot go further. Okay. So these are the advantages and disadvantages. So flux control method means you are connecting a rheostat. So it will change the current flowing through the shunt field. If resistance is more, current is less, so pi is less. So hence pi is less, speed increases. If we increase the resistance, current is low, phi is also low, so speed will increase. Okay. This is the flux control method. So what are the advantages? It is easy, convenient, cheap, low power is wasted. So you can change any load. You can keep on decrease the load. So load will not, this method will not affect the load. Disadvantage is there is a limitation in maximum speed. So if we go for maximum speed, it will cause problems in the computations and it will cause sparking also. So next we will ask questions. 101. Aswad, are you here? Aswad option. Dayanand.
Sir,
So what are the three methods of speed control? I have told three methods. Formula I tell N is proportional to EB, B minus IARA by pi. Now tell what are the three methods. So you have to carefully listen. Just switching on the phone is not enough. So you have to listen carefully and you have to answer. Wait, okay, I will wait. Dayanand, how long I wait?
And why you asked to wait for wait?
Your network is slow or you are searching for answers?
the network is slow, sir.
Network slow, okay. Then put it in the chat box.
Okay, sir.
You put it in the chat box. Kirti Vasan, tell me, what is flux control method? Dayanand, you put it in the chat box, answer.
Okay.
Kirti Vasan. Kirti Vasan is also absent. Today, 19A 101 absent, 109 absent. 113, Prasant. So what will happen means next class onwards, we will ask you to switch on the camera. So everyone will switch on the camera. Prasant, can you tell what is flux control method? What parameter you are varying? So I want to know what is the parameter you are varying in the flux control method.
I don't understand your question, sir.
So what is the parameter? What is the parameter you are varying in the flux control method? All of you should take a note and you have to write the main points. Okay, so I will check the notes before your assignment. So I will give some marks to the notes. So whether all of you are writing or not, I want to know. If you are not writing the note, so the corresponding mark will be 0. So we move to the next topic. So next one is armature control method. So if anyone is mic is on, you switch unmute the mic. So next topic is armature control method. So in this method, so we are controlling the armature. By the name, you know that it is we are controlling the armature. So here the controlling the armature means we are controlling the armature current. So by controlling the armature current, I am controlling the back EMF. Okay. So based on the fact, by varying the voltage available across the armature. So I am varying the voltage across the armature. So voltage across the armature is back EMF. Okay. So that back EMF is varied, automatically the speed is varied. So from the formula we know that N is equal to V minus IARA by 5. So V minus IARA is back EMF, EB. So EB is voltage across the armature. Okay. By varying the voltage across the armature, I can vary the back EMF. Okay, hence the speed is varied. So for this connection, I am keeping a rheostat in series with the armature. Okay, in the diagram if you see, there is a rheostat in series with the armature. So I am inserting a variable resistance RC. So variable resistance is known as rheostat. Okay. So RC, controller resistance in series with the armature. Now the back EMF equation becomes EB equal to V minus IARA. Normally it is V minus IARA. Since a controller resistance is given and it is series with the armature, so now the equation is V minus IARA plus RC. Both resistance will add up. Okay. So RC is the controller resistance. So this is the graph between the speed and the armature current. So if we are not giving any resistance, without controller resistance, speed will be higher. So if we are giving a controller resistance, the speed will be lower. So how it works, I am telling. So I am putting this variable slider in the top. There will be no resistance of RC. So I am keeping the pointer here. I am keeping the holder here. So no value of resistance is added to the armature. So here there are no RC. So this voltage drop will be minimum. So V minus IARA will be maximum. So speed will increase. So I am moving the resistance in between. Now some resistance will be there. So voltage drop will be somewhat higher and the EB will be lower. Now the speed will be reduced. I am putting the resistance to this end, bottom end. Now full resistance is added. So more voltage drop. So back EMF is also reduced. Back EMF is also reduced. So now speed will be more reduced. Okay. So with without controller resistance, speed will be higher. With controller resistance, speed will be lower. So in this armature control method, we are using a controller resistance RC. There is some voltage drop. So there is some voltage drop occurs in the RC. So back EMF is reduced. Since back EMF is directly proportional to the speed is also reduced. The highest speed obtained by this method is 0. It's 100%. It is not 0. Sorry. So maximum speed is 100%. You can obtain up to the rated speed. You cannot go beyond the rated speed in armature control method. So you can go up to the rated speed. Okay. So this will provide speed below the normal speed. You can get a speed from 1500 to the 100 RPM. So you can get speeds below the normal speed. So what is the disadvantages in this method? So we are using a controller resistance. So there will be some voltage drop. There is some heat loss also. So there is a power loss in the controller resistance. It is also very high. So it is a loss means power loss means it is a loss only. So economically it is a loss only. Next one, the speed depends upon the load. So it depends upon the load RA and also depends upon the load RC. Okay. So the speed will be reduced. So you cannot get speed above rated speed. Okay. Since the controller resistance produces some voltage drop, so the efficiency is reduced. So this have only poor speed regulation. So poor speed regulation means the voltage between no load and full load. So we increase the load, the speed will gradually decrease. That is known as poor speed regulation. So due to the disadvantages, this method is rarely used. Okay, armature control method is rarely used. So field control is widely used, armature control is rarely used. So another method is voltage control method. So in this method we are only changing the input voltage. So by changing the input voltage you can control the speed. Okay. So in this method field current is supplied from a separate source. So the method avoids the disadvantage of poor speed regulation and low efficiency. Okay. So field current is separated, armature current is separated. So here there is no disadvantage of poor speed regulation. Okay. Since field current is independent of load. So here no low efficiency is not occur in voltage control method. So in this method, what we are doing is, we are taking the shunt field coil and we are connected to a separate voltage source. Okay. So armature is connected across different voltages by switchgear. So we are separating the shunt field coil and series field coil. So shunt field coil is connected to a source which is fixed. Armature coil is connected to another source which is variable. Okay. So by doing this method, there is no problem of low efficiency. There is no problem of poor speed regulation, etc. So this is known as voltage control method. So there are different voltage control methods. So first one is Ward-Leonard method. So it is one of the important methods for controlling the speed motor. So here what they are doing is, so the armature voltage is connected to a voltage generator. So another separate generator. So where the field circuit is separately connected. So this is one of the methods in Ward-Leonard speed control method. The generator voltage will determine the speed of the DC motor. Field coil is fixed. Armature coil is connected to a generator. So if I vary the generator voltage, the back EMF is varied. So automatically the speed varies. So the back EMF is directly controlled by a generator. So this method is known as Ward-Leonard system. So here there is no need of resistance because we are not wasting the power. So we are giving the required voltage by using another generator. So here the motor speed is adjusted to different ranges without resistance loss. So you can easily make the motor to a standstill position by controlling the generator. Okay. This method is used in large motors when DC supply is not available. So this method is used in very large motors when DC supply is not available in that region. So disadvantages in this method is you require a motor generator set for coupling each other, and the losses would be high if the motor is operating under light load. So far we have seen theory part, we see what is DC motor, we have seen already the construction, how the working principle of DC motor, what are the DC speed control methods, what are the starters used in DC motor. So here also the problems will be there. So it is based on speed control or it based on normal back EMF. Okay. So in this method, first we see the problems in speed control. So all of you write down the problem. A 220 volt, 15 kilowatt, 850 RPM, shunt motor draws the 72.2 amps when operating at rated condition. So the resistance of the armature and shunt field are 0.25 and 100 ohm. So how we can determine it is a shunt motor means they are given the word shunt field. So it is a shunt motor. Okay. Determine the percentage reduction in field flux in order to obtain a speed of 1650 or 50 RPM. So when the armature current is 40. Okay. From this problem, we have to write the given data. First, we have to write the given data. They are given 220 volt. So it is a supply voltage. So V equal to 220 volt. Next, it is written as 15 kilowatt. It is a power. So in motor, we are not saying it is a power, we are saying it is a rating of the motor. So when you buy a motor, the shop owner or shop assistant will ask what is the rating of the motor. So rating indicates the power of the motor. So 15 kilowatt is the rating. So DC motor rating is 15 kilowatt, which is the power of the motor. So next one is the 850 RPM. So it is a speed. So it takes 72.2 amps. It is the load current, IL. Okay. When operating at rated condition. So when the rated condition, this is the value. Next, they are given the resistance of the armature RA 0.25 ohm. Next, shunt field resistance 100 ohm. So they are given another speed. So two speeds are available. So take first speed as N1, second speed as N2, 1650 RPM. So second speed, they are given the current 40 amps. Okay. Now we have to find the reduction in flux percentage. Okay, we see the blackboard. Moving the, I'm changing this to blackboard. So problem I have not written. First I write the given data. So I have to move to the that slide only. So first I write the given data. The voltage V equal to 220 volt. So rating P equal to 15 kilowatt. N1 850 RPM. RA 0.25 ohm. RSH 100 ohm. N2 1650. IA2 40 amps. So already they are given IL equal to 72.2 amps. Okay. So this is the given data. So what is the question? They have to find the reduction in flux. Okay. So now we solve the problem. How to remove this? Okay. I hope this is visible here. So instead of IL, other than IL, you can visible. So IL is 72.2 amps.
Sir, in top corner it's not visible, sir.
V is visible.
No,
Voltage?
sir, from P only visible.
P
Power
only
equal to
visible.
15 kilowatt.
Okay, okay. Okay. So IL is 72.2 amps and V is 220 volts. So they have asked what is the reduction in flux. They have asked what is the reduction in flux. Question is what is the reduction in flux. So the formula we get, we have already found that N is proportional to EB by pi. So we have already seen this in theory. So we have two speeds, one it is 850, another one is 1650. So we can write two equations, one it is N1 is equal to EB1 by pi 1, N2 equal to EB2 by pi 2. Okay. So it doesn't know what is the flux. It doesn't know whether it is pi, we doesn't know pi 1, we doesn't know pi 2. Okay. Only thing if we divide by these two, we can get by 1 by 2. From this we can determine the reduction in flux. By seeing the value of ratio of pi 1 by 2, we can see the value of reduction in flux. So N1, N2 they are given. Next we have to find EB1 and EB2. Okay. We have to find EB1 and EB2. So EB equation is V minus IARA. First we have to find EB1. EB1 is equal to V minus IARA. IA1 RA. So we have the value 220 volt. IA1, there is no IA1. So RA is available. So first we have to find the IA1. So but we have the total current IL. Okay. So this is IL1. Sorry. This is IL1. So in order to find IA, you have to subtract the shunt field current with the IL1. So here it is shunt field, so it is a shunt motor. For shunt motor, IA1 is equal to IL1 minus IFH1. Okay. So we have to find IFH1. So it is V divided by RSH. Okay, 220, RSH is 100, this 2.2 amps. So I am taking the first equation, N is proportional to EB by pi. Since there are two speeds, I am writing two equations. So I know N1 and N2, so I have to find EB1 and EB2. So EB1 formula is V minus IA1 RA. So I know V, RA also known, I want to know IA1. So in order to find the IA1, the total load current flows through armature as well as sun field. So I want to find the armature field current. So I have to subtract the sun field current with the armature current. First I have to find the sun field current. Sun field current is voltage divided by sun field resistance. So V by RSH, 220 by 100, 2.2. So I can find the IA1. So IA1 is 220, sorry, IA1 is equal to IL1 minus ISH1. So 72.2 minus 2.2 is equal to 70 amps. Now I can find EB1. EB1 equal to V minus IA1 RA. 220 minus 70 into 0.25. 70 into 0.25 is 17.5. 220 minus 17.5 is 202.5 volts. Okay. So I have only found EB1. So I have to find EB2. Then only I have to divide these two equations in order to find pi 1 by pi 2. Okay. So write it down. So after writing down, you put completed in the chat box.
Sir, I have doubt.
Yeah. சொல்லுங்க.
So, okay, you have mentioned back EMF now.
Back EMF, yes.
Yeah, okay. 220 minus 70 into 0.2, no, sir?
Yeah, here is back EMF equal to V minus IA1 RA. So V is 220, IA1 I have found out 70.
Yeah, okay.
70, RA is 0.25. So here RA is 0.25. So when I draw the diagram, you can understand.
Only 0.2 is visible, sir. 0.25 is not visible. So only asked.
Oh, here 0.25 is not visible. Okay, okay.
Yeah, 0.2 only visible, sir.
Okay, I will write it here. EB1 equal to 220 minus 70 into 0.25. So it is 202.5 volts. So after completed, we put completed in the chat box, we move to the next step. So I have found EB1. Similarly, I have to find EB2. Then I have to divide by pi 1 by pi 2 or pi 2 by pi 1. So that I can easily find the reduction in flux in percentage. So from the given data, only 3 or 4 formulas are there. So from the given data, you have to think and you have to use the corresponding formula. So in DC motor, one formula is EB1 equal to V minus IRA. Another formula is N equal to EB by pi. There are few formulas in each model. So you have to use the corresponding formula in the corresponding problem. So if you complete it, we move to the next problem. So write it down, because only writing only you can, when you see later you can understand. If you seeing, it will be forgotten. So here there is a value power equal to 15 kilowatt. It is not used. It is not used anywhere. So this parameter is not useful for this particular problem. So all the parameters are not needed for a particular solution. So depending upon the question, you have to move forward. This power 15 kilowatt is not used anywhere. The remaining value is also used in this direction. So this 15 kilowatt will not be used anywhere. So I'm moving to the next step. So I'm rubbing up the given data. So EB2. So EB2 equal to V minus IA2 RA. So RA is fixed only. IA2 they have given 40 amps. So you can directly substitute 220 into 40 minus 0.25. It is equal to 210 volts. It is equal to 210 volts. Okay. So now I have found EB1 and EB2. So now in order to find the reduction in flux, so I have to divide phi2 by phi1. Phi2 by phi1. Okay. So when I divide N1 by N2, it is EB1 by EB2, it is phi1 by phi2. So I divide N2 by N1. So I am dividing N2 by N1. So I am dividing N2 by N1, which is equal to EB2 by EB1, phi2 by phi1. Okay. So I want the reduction in flux. So I am moving the phi this side and moving N2 by N1 downward. Okay. So I am moving phi2 by phi1 here, N2 by N1 here. So phi2 divided by phi1, which is equal to EB2 divided by EB1 by
Sundar sir. Sundar sir. Sundar sir. Sir, Sundar sir. Sundar sir. Sir will teach you once again. Sundar sir will teach you once again, okay?
Hello. So
Now it is okay,
So
sir. Now it is
you know
okay.
how to find EB1. So you find the EB1. Next we go to the EB2. So voltage I know 220. So IA2 also given 40 amps. So the RA 0.25 it is given in the problem. So you put all the values, you get the EB2. Next I have to find the reduction in flux. Okay. So I have formula N2 and N1. So I want to find how much value the flux is reduced. So initial flux is phi1, final flux is phi2. So you have to get in terms of phi1. So I have to divide phi2 by phi1. So that I am dividing N2 by N1. So N2 by N1 is equal to EB2 by EB1 is equal to phi2 by phi1. So I want to find only phi2 by phi1. So I am moving this N2 by N1 downwards and phi2 by phi1 here. So you know the values of EB2, EB1, N2, N1. Okay. So you put all the values, you divide here, to the overall divide, you get 0.534. Now, so moving this phi1 here. So phi2 equal to 0.534 phi1. So initially it is full value, now it is reduced to 0.534. So I have to subtract 0.534 from 1. So 1 minus 0.534 which is equal to 0.466. So I want to have the answer in percentage. So you have to multiply by 100. So you get 46.6%. So this is the solution for this particular problem. So every problem has a different solution. So what question they have asked, you have to apply the corresponding technique. So only 3 persons have done the assignment 1. The remaining person complete the assignment before today. So totally you have 15 members. So the lateral entries I have added in the Google Classroom. Lateral entries I won't add it. So I will look after that. One more thing I have asked for the NPTEL enrollment, no one has sent. So I want only enrollment. You write the exam or not, it is your thing. You do the enrollment and send the confirmation letter to me. You can enroll for any number of courses. You can enroll up to 50 courses. It is not a problem. So only thing is you have to scroll down. Okay, you can study all the subjects in this semester. But writing the exam, you can write which is familiar to you. Then only you will pass and you get the certificate. So this problem we find this solution. So we see some more problems in this DC motor. Then next class. So next week also DC machines only. So after that we go for the transformers and the induction machines. For transformers you have construction working principle and EMF equation and losses and some problems are there. So induction motor, it is only single phase induction motor. So after that the unit 2 over. So after the unit 2 you have unit test also. So unit test 1. So next unit is electronic devices. So mostly it is a theory type only. So how the diode works, transistor works. So it is mostly theory. So 1 or 2 problems will be there. So it is second model. So your second ECA starts on October 12. So we have to complete the syllabus before that. If necessary, I will take special classes to complete the syllabus. If you have any doubt in this problem, so in this model, you have to study the construction details. So DC motor and DC generator are same only. So next you have to study the EMF equation of DC generator, then applications of DC generator, and problems will be having that. Similarly, in DC motor, you have to study the applications, starters, speed control methods, and problems. So this is about DC machines. I hope. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. You have to complete the assignment 1 before today. So otherwise, I will reduce the marks for that person. So today, if you do it perfectly, I will put full marks. Even though if you do correctly and you submit late, I will reduce the marks. Those who are not completed, you ask the completed persons how to do. We see some more problems in the next class. And also you do the NPTEL enrollment and you send the confirmation mail to me. Now it is clear. So in the last class they have changed the camera now. So in the last class it is not clear. Now they have changed the camera. Now it is clear. Blackboard is clear. So I am teaching every step. So I have not left any step. So I have not go directly to the solution. So while teaching, I am going step by step only. So if you are not understanding, it is your problem only. So I will not omit any step. I will not jump to the answer. I will go step by step only. We carefully study the, you write and study means you can easily understand. So where gone Aswath gone out, 102, 103, Gautam, there is 105, 108.
Sir, I have sent the attendance survey, sir.
Okay. So every time is different. My phone time is different, my system time is also different. How can we conclude? So next week you have some more problems in DC motors, generators. Next we go to the transformers and induction machines. So before October 12, we have to complete the model 2. So you have exams, final exams on November month. So every exam is online only. So you have to write it down and you have to send online. So unit test, it is also online. Internal exams, final exams, everything is online. So you have to write all the examinations. So assignment you have to submit in Google Classroom. If anyone wants to do seminar, you can contact me. Instead of assignment, you can do seminar. If anyone wants to do seminar, you can also contact me. So in this subject, it is a basic subject, basics of EEE. So you cannot do a project in this subject. You can understand what is the concept in electrical and electronic engineering. You should know the fundamentals of electrical and electronic engineering, whether it is mechanical or automobile. Civil only doesn't study this subject. Other than civil, all the branches are studying this subject. So even though it is not related to your department, you have to concentrate and study, and you have to clear
Sir,
the.
time is 11 to.
Okay, sir. So you can leave the class, but my system time is only 10:59. So only I am continuing. Okay. All of you leave the class. You go to the next class.